Hi everybody, welcome to Dandelion Cottage and Watercolor Wednesday. I'm Leslie Watkins. One of the things that I love about this time of year is that I will oftentimes go outside and see the last of the roses. And it's such a wonderful surprise because it's no matter how many times I see it, I never expect it, and they are beautiful. So these roses are the David Austin Crocus roses, which are my favorites. And I love them because they're sort of two-tone. They sort of open up as a little pink bud, and then they turn to this beautiful pale buttery yellow and eventually fade to a cream. And they're a kind of an old-fashioned rose, and they're very beautiful. And so this morning I went out and I gathered them all up so I could share them with you today. And that's what we're going to be painting. So let me show you what they look like. So here they are. And I think you can see, so I've also got some other things which I'll tell you about in just a second. But can you see the different tones on there? So under here I have got a little pink bud. If I can move this aside so you can see it. So there it is. There's that beautiful little pink bud. And then here's an example of the bud opening up a little bit, and it's beginning to lose some of the pink and it's starting to put on some of the yellow. Here's one that is a little more yellow, and then here's an example of that gorgeous creamy tone that it fades off to. And you can see that they've got a lot of petals, and there's a very slight, beautiful fragrance. Not very strong, but just enough. And also blooming like crazy right now is that witch hazel. And what's happened now is that all of the leaves have blown away, revealing just the flowers. So this beautiful let's see if I can get this. See, there it is. So the entire, it's sort of an understory tree. I almost said a shrub. The one I have is not very old, but it has multi-stems, so it's very thick. And maybe what I'll do is I'll post a picture of it later, because it's that pretty with all these wonderful spidery flowers. And then these are leaves from my smoke bush, and I just love the color. And I don't know that you'll be, well, yeah, you do. Okay, so you can see the transmitted light. So this is the light that's coming from my window, and it's going through the leaf, kind of illuminating them, giving them this gorgeous color. And where I have my smoke bush growing, I can see the setting sun coming through those leaves in the late afternoon. So it's really beautiful. So those are the things that that are inspiring me today. And I'm just going to check the settings here. Make sure that you can see and hear me. And that looks pretty good. Yes, I can see that. All right, and then I'm using the watercolor sketchbook today because in the back here, if I go towards the back of the book, well, a little closer to the middle maybe, but here is a beginning of some of the beautiful smoke bush foliage that I started last year. And I thought it would be fun to use this page and just add some of these flowers to it. So let me get my flowers arranged. I think I want to get one with a little bit of color in it. So here we go. Now your view of the flowers is going to be a little different than mine because you're looking down on it, but I'm looking at it a little more sideways, so it's going to look a little bit different as I paint it. And I've got my watercolors. So here they are. I've got red, yellow, and blue. We're just using the 3 primaries. I'm going to move this one over for a minute. I'm not sure if we'll need that. And I'm not going to keep you very long today because I have a bunch of stuff that I have to take care of. So this is going to be a fairly short video, I think, but we'll see what happens. Okay, so I am going to, I'm going to start up here. So I'm going to put a sketch here, and let me see if I can zoom in a little bit for you. Not that much. My zoom is gets a little overexcited. There we go. That should do it. So I'm going to have this one. I'm going to have this span across the 2 sides of the spread here. And I'm going to put this beautiful pinkish opening bud right here. Something like that. And then next to it I have this this flower that is in the yellow moving into the beautiful creamy color stage over here. And maybe I'll add some leaves. Okay, so I think you can see that. And I'm going to add this one going off into the background. I'm just going to pick out some of the more prominent petals on here. For those of you who are new here, if you're just tuning in, I'd like to invite you to subscribe to Notes from Dandelion Cottage, which is my newsletter. It's not really a newsletter, it's just a way that I can share upcoming events with you. And I do have something kind of exciting coming right up. So it looks like I have another opportunity to have a pop-up shop in town, and I'm thinking about a holiday pop-up series, and I'm still in the planning stages. This is very last minute. This was somebody else canceled, and so there was an opening, and I agreed to participate. So I'm just sort of putting it all together. But if you'd like to learn more about that, then please subscribe to Notes from Dandelion Cottage, and you can do that on my website at dandelioncottagedesign.com. You can also do it if you're watching on Facebook by clicking on the sign up link up in the banner above. And when you do that, I will be sending out an announcement about not only the live classes, holiday classes coming up, but I've also got some really fun watercolor offerings coming up as well, including an invitation to come to a live Zoom as my guest. So please go ahead and subscribe so that you can get that invitation and hopefully enjoy a free watercolor lesson. All right, so I think I've got enough information on here right now. I just needed enough to get my leaves and my petals situated so I know where they are, and I think I need to add one more sprig of leaves going off into this direction. Okay, all right, so I'm not going to finish the entire thing, but what I will do is I'll get it started and then I'm going to work on this one flower here. So because there is this beautiful kind of a warm undertone, I'm just going to go ahead and wash some of these flowers with this beautiful tone just to get them started. And I'm keeping some of the areas unpainted where I want my highlights to be. I just love how the tones change from pinks to yellows on these roses. They're just lovely. And the other thing that's particularly nice about these roses, if you are somebody that lives in a zone 4, well, actually, I don't want to misspeak. Let's say a zone 5. These roses should do well for you, and that's important because a lot of the roses want the temperatures to be a little bit warmer, but these roses will grow in a zone 5, which is, I'm kind of a zone 5, zone 4.5, depending on how cold the winter is. Sometimes it can be closer to a zone 4, but lately that has not been the case. All right, so there are my flowers started. I may decide to add a bud someplace to give it a little more of a design if I feel that I need something in a certain area. And then the other thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a very light wash of plain yellow and get my leaves started with that. Very pale. All right, so that's my basic layout, and I'm just checking to see if there's another opportunity for a leaf here. And there is sort of going, I'm going to just have this go behind the other leaves. And then underneath here is another leaf poking out. All right, so I know you don't see that very well, but as I continue to paint, you should be able to see it better and better. I'm going into my red now, and I'm mixing a little bit of blue to give me a kind of a very cool, pale violet tone. And this is very, very pale. And I'm just going to use this in some of these recesses. And then in my creamier colored flower, I'm going to use more of the warmer tones. Towards the center. So the centers look warmer. There's a little more of that yellow quality. And just sort of making my way around, indicating, not stating, just giving a kind of an impression. I'm mixing up a kind of another blue violet, but a little bit darker, and I'm just going to use that to get into some of these shadowy areas here, but not too much. And then now I'm mixing my blue with a little yellow to get a kind of a medium to dark green, and I'm going to just test that over here. Okay, that's pretty good. And I'm going to use the tip of my brush to indicate some of that serrated edge. Make that read as a rose leaf. This one down here. This one's mostly in shadow, so I'm not going to put a lot of detail on this, but I will kind of get that silhouette started. Okay. Another one over here. Now the stems of the leaves have kind of a reddish quality to them. So I'm just going to add a couple of strokes to indicate that. They get a little more greener as they go, but some of these veins in the leaves also have that kind of a reddish quality. I don't see a lot of this, but I'll just put a couple of, I want to capture that color, and so I'm just looking for places where I can take advantage of that. I see Bev is here. Hi Bev, thanks for joining. And now I'm going to mix up a kind of a brighter green for some of these leaves that are have a little more light on them. So over here, excuse me. All right, so there's a little cluster of leaves, and then this one over here. So if you have a brush that has a beautiful sharp point the way this brush does, it really does a lot of the work for you, because you can get such a wonderful variety of strokes with just one brush. And this is a medium-sized brush. This is about a 7. And some of these leaves, now that, you know, actually they're looking, a lot of them are in perfect condition, but some of them have been around for a while and are showing some signs of wear and tear. And that gives you an opportunity to introduce some other colors, like if there are brown spots on the leaves, or if they're turning yellow, whatever the case may be. Now these leaves on the other side have a lot of transmitted light passing through them, and so they are a brighter green. And I'm not going to work on these too much, just get the basic shape and not a lot of detail, because I want to make sure that the center of attention is over in this area. Okay, so I think that's enough of the background for the moment. Now I just want to get into the main actor here. This is the star of the show. And so I'm mixing up some of this beautiful, warm, kind of an apricot almost mixture, sort of peachy tone, just beautiful. And actually, I'm going to put a paper towel over here to keep my hand out of the paint. Now, when you're painting a flower like this, that is a very pale color, you want to make sure that you don't get too dark in your shadow areas. So I've pretty much gone about as dark as I could go in terms of value there. So I'm going to switch colors, but not value. I'm thinking of adding a new class just for stampers. Maybe people who have never watercolored before but would like to add a new technique to their paper crafts. You saw me last week. I used that beautiful watercolor background for the top of a box, which I'll show you tomorrow. If you missed it, you'll have a chance to see it tomorrow. So watercolor can add a whole other element to your designs that can be absolutely charming. And so I'm going to make it a little bit easier, so you don't have to take a master class in order to get started, but just enough to be able to create something a little bit special, a little bit different from what maybe you've been doing. And if you're someone who uses the water-based inks like I do, those inks are perfect for a watercolor technique. You don't even have to get any special paints. So stay tuned for that. That's coming right up, and that also will be announced on my email that I'll be sending out, that notes from Dandelion Cottage. So be sure to get on that list so that you won't miss it. Okay. I'm going to add a little bit of detail to these . To these. 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 To bigger flowers. Another leaf over here. That can be a little darker. And then for the cream colored flowers, I want to add a little bit of the detail, and so I'm mixing up a darker yellow, and I don't want it too bright, so I'm just going to add some of that blue violet to the yellow just to neutralize it a bit. And then this I can use just to put a couple of strokes to indicate the texture here in the center of these beautiful full flowers. A little bit over here. This one's kind of wet. I'll come back to that one when it dries a little bit. And these petals are turning away from the light. Let me just get those indicated. Okay, so I think you can see that coming along. And then we have the shadow side of this one over here. And then a little bit, I'm just going to put one stroke here to sort of indicate that this side of the flowers in shadow, and just sort of let that fade off. Like so. I'll come back to this flower when it dries a little bit. It's a little bit too wet right now to do anything else to it. But now this one, my my star performer here needs just a couple of accents to kind of bring that to life. And so just here and there. Now I'm going to see if I can get one little spot in the center of this flower. It's still pretty wet, so yeah, it's not gonna stay put. So I'm just going to leave that alone for now. And there we go. Okay, so there is my little addition of the crocus roses to the, let me move this up so you can see better, to the smoke bush page. Oh, I see we've got a shadow here from the flowers. Let me move those over so you can see a little bit better. There we go. That's a little bit better. And then here, of course, are those gorgeous flowers. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope I've inspired you to get your paints out. Take a look and see what's flowering in the garden, or go to your local florist or supermarket and pick something up, bring it home, and paint it, and then enjoy it on your shelf or your desk or your dining room table, whatever the case may be. I like to put these little bouquets next to my bathtub so I can look at them while I'm soaking in the tub. I'll be back tomorrow for Paper Crafting Thursday, also at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. And I'm not sure yet what I'm going to be doing, but I will be sharing with you the finished box that I started last week with the Eclectic Autumn, featuring a little bit of that watercolor background. So I think you'll enjoy that. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Stay well, stay happy, stay creative, and I will see you next time.